Hello, what's going on, my friends? This is the Giant Beastcast, and that's how you dump the audio out too early. My name is, I'm kidding, Abby Russell. My name is Jeff Bacalar. We are Vinny Caravella list today, but don't worry. Abby Russell is here. Hello, Abby.
Hello, I'm here. I am doing live audio. I know it's a little bit quiet, but you know what? You just gotta deal with it. It's as loud as it can get. Groove music is quite frankly a shitty software. Continue on.
When you want to work with professionals, you work with professionals, okay? Alex Navarro is here as well. What's up, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, when you want to work with professionals, you don't want to bring me into this mix. That's not gonna help anyone.
That's right. I'm the only professional in the room today, but that's fine because I am podcasting with the power of LTE 4G TM. And I'll have you know that miraculously, I have no internet in my house, but somehow, apparently, there's data that flows through the air.
Wow.
I'm using that, harnessing that, and I'm somehow miraculously podcasting, and this is very exciting. Poor Vinny Caravella, he is still without power, he is still without internet, he is still without a soul, but look, he's in our hearts, and that's all that matters.
He's probably only going to get two of those things back, and when all is said and done.
Well, you can't get your soul back if you never had one to begin with.
Yeah.
But listen, what's crazy is like, I guess the rest of the country understands that this was a very serious hurricane that came in up the East Coast, and I guess maybe I posted a photo for you guys. Did you see the tree that came down in my yard?
Yeah, wild. You posted the photo. I think all of us responded to it.
Well, maybe that's just the lag in the internet. But we had like a 75-footer come down.
You're lucky it fell away from the house.
Yes. What's wild was, so the tree was, something must have happened right when the hurricane started, and the bottom of this tree, which is really only from like the base of it to like my front door, I don't know, 40 feet, it cracked like right away. And it started leaning up against the tree next to it.
Could you hear the crack?
So I'm like, we heard. I mean, it was a hurricane. You hear a lot of stuff during the hurricane. It was pretty gnarly. So I'm looking outside, and I'm just like, oh fuck, this tree falls towards the house. It's probably gonna just destroy my garage. And I won't lie, like it was a real solid 3 hours of like, this is pretty borderline emergency. Like I don't know what we're gonna do right now. We kind of just like resigned to the fact that like, well, it doesn't like pose us any immediate threat, because if it does directly hit the house, it's going to go on the garage and whatever, like we'll just have a destroyed garage. But so what happened was the hurricane goes by, which then the wind direction went the opposite way, right? Because I guess that's just what happened in this sort of situation. So it basically went from like northeast wind to southwest wind, and the second the wind changed, this fucking thing just went ka-chunk and scared the like when it hit the ground, it sounded like someone dropped a plane out of the sky. Like it was insane.
Did you
the
yell?
Noise this thing made. What's that?
Did you yell?
I saw it go down.
Oh, really?
Like, because I was just paranoid. I'm like looking out my front. I'm looking out my bedroom window at the thing at the front yard. And I'm like giving Stacy like live reports. I'm like, okay, I think this is it. And like it was, and then finally when it went down, I was like, there it goes. Ka-chunk. Unbelievable. Like,
wow,
man, it was wild in a way.
It was a big tree.
Say it again?
That was a big tree. Sorry, it sounds like my audio must be doing that thing again.
No, you're fine right now. We had someone come look at it, and the dude's like, yeah, this is about a 75-footer you had. And we're like, cool. Does that make it less expensive to clean up because you it's that long? Like, how does that work? Anyway, it was wild. It was like a super wild thing. What were you gonna say, Alex?
Was there ever a moment where you considered, once you heard that first crack, just like lining yourself up from your front yard and just running, shoulder checking that tree to see if you could push it the other direction to make sure it didn't hit your shit?
Yes.
Okay.
But yes, in the sense that like, what an idiotic idea. But
Oh, yeah,
yes,
it's a terrible idea. I'm not saying it's a good idea, but I'm just
a,
wondering how close you got to enacting that terrible idea.
a definitive yes.
Okay.
Where it's just like, you know, I wonder if I could, in its precarious situation, push over this tree that probably weighs a ton and a half. Like, could I just persuade it to go in the other direction? And like I'm thinking like, do we leave? But no, we can't leave. It's a fucking hurricane. So like, do we go in the basement? Do what? Anyway, we're all safe. We're all good. My town's torn up a little bit, but no worse for the wear. And holy shit, that was just a crazy day all in.
Yeah.
Power's back, but we don't have internet. But I'm starting to realize that my phone can be a hotspot for pretty much my entire house. So I don't need my ISP as much as I thought I did.
Great.
Yeah.
Is your little man back to playing Rocket League on your phone now?
He's playing. He's not playing online.
He
If I
was
just
before
could
though, right? Or
he
no?
would play online by accident. He
Oh,
was
sure.
playing because he just like would spam a button and then wind up in like some multiplayer match. Um, and just like invite all my friends on the friends list to play too, which was always kind of funny. But so the other day, him and I played. So he's playing All Star now. Remember, I was going through the thing where like, oh, he's just playing on rookie and he's winning like 11-1. Now he's been playing All Star for about a month now. We did 1-on-1 yesterday. He beat me 9-1.
Wow.
I mean, he spends all his time doing it. It's like his
And I
full-time
only
job.
scored and I only scored because he put the ball in his own fucking net, this little bastard. He's like,
he's
don't worry,
taunting
Dad,
you.
I'll help you out. It was rough. It was real rough. Like
Ugh.
I was laughing so hard the whole time just because when it's like, oh, you see a little kid playing this video game so well, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. It was like watching like a dog drive a car. You're just like, what is happening right now? But anyway, I have not been playing that many games just because of the situation. But how have you guys been? How has the hurricane treated you? And what's your deal?
It was mostly fine over here. I mean, in my neighborhood, it was like a lot. It was like a lot of rain, like nothing crazy, but like steady rain all day, and then it got like immediately sunny and incredibly windy. Like I went outside when it became sunny, and it was like honestly beautiful out, but like so intensely windy, and there were like branches and leaves and stuff everywhere. I didn't have any issues with my internet or anything. There was like an internet truck outside though, so I was like not sure if somebody else did, but it was fine with me.
Yeah, I think by the time it got to us, it had mostly been downgraded, I think, to a tropical storm. But it was still, I mean, it was heavy and intense, and a lot of wind, and a lot of trees got blown over in our neighborhood. I know that Comcast is like still out internet wise in at least parts of where we are. So I mean, it was some damage. It wasn't anything like super crazy, but like I've seen photos from my neighborhood of just like trees crushing vans and cars and other things. Yeah, there's some big trees around here. Thankfully not on our street, but nonetheless, I also moved my car a day or two before the storm from underneath a tree to not underneath a tree, not even really on purpose, just because I had to go out and do something, and I am very glad I did that.
That's good.
Excellent job. I will say this, having lived through Superstorm Sandy, being in arguably one of the worst towns to be in for that storm, Hoboken, New Jersey, this was the first time I had like callbacks to that for sure. Like and I mostly just for like the damaging wind. I know that storm was more storm surge and the flooding, but just the whole sense of like we are so fucking helpless when it comes to stuff like this. Like we are just ants. It was super sobering and not a lot of fun, but obviously we're very happy to be on the other side of it. I got a buddy in New Jersey who bought a house. He closed on a house a month ago, has not moved in. A tree landed on his house.
Oh no.
That's
and like
brutal.
didn't just give it like a grazing, like on the roof.
Oh
like,
my god.
Yeah. Like, could you
Did he have insurance?
So bad. Yeah, I'm sure you can't close without insurance. So
that's brutal.
But like, then you get into the like act of God bullshit and all this stuff. And who knows? Because God doesn't have insurance apparently. So
Yeah.
um,
Wow,
anyway,
Jeff.
that's kind of the story. Man, it was wild. I talked to Vinny. I don't know if you guys like spoke to him on the phone, and he said that he has like a generator, and I know he's able to like keep his food cold, but it's like a gasoline generator, and it's all the complications that come with that, and
Right.
it's tough. I know yesterday New Jersey had like roughly 1.5 million people without power.
Hmm.
That's obviously improved, but it's tough.
Yeah, it sounds like
It's been
he's
pretty
been
wild.
getting random updates from, the power company and the city and all that. And it's like at one point it was like it won't have power until at least tomorrow morning. Then it was won't have power until Sunday, and now I think it's like won't have power until probably tonight
It's
at
like tonight or
at the
tomorrow morning,
earliest.
maybe. Yeah.
I
My
just it's
friend has like parents who live on the Jersey Shore, and like their power went out, and she was saying it was going to be like 4 days before anyone was even around to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely depends on where you live and how much attention they like prioritize to where you are. But like, oh, it's wild.
Yeah.
All right. Let us pivot into the games that we are playing. Like I said, all I'm
Mm.
doing is like losing to a 5-year-old in Rocket League. Um, I obviously wanted to download season 5 for Warzone.
Obviously.
I like I don't I haven't even considered like maybe I could LTE hotspot download like
You're on like
30
a
Indie
work
gigs.
Game
phone
Pass,
too,
why
which I
not?
love. Like I love you writing off them being like, "Why do you have like a 200 gigabyte download on over like your cellular?" And you'd be like, "Well, it's a work thing. I need to talk about
Like
it. I can make an
there's
argument."
4 terabytes? What like your bill is $83,000, Jeff. What happened? Yeah, so I guess I'll wait until that comes back online. But I want to play Fall Guys. I've heard a lot of stuff. I know
I've
Alex, you're
played
gonna
it.
talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I really have. What about you guys?
I have been playing Fall Guys. I played it the day it came. Well, I played it a bit in beta, just a little bit on my computer, and then I played on my PS4 when it was on PS Plus. Um, and there are some like connectivity issues with the servers. It's having a hard time connecting, and like you get booted after like one round, and you basically get like no XP if you get booted, which sucks. But I would say I'm enjoying it. I think it's fun. I also think it's a thing that I probably, if I didn't, if I wasn't going to play it for work, I probably would have hopped in that first day, played for a couple hours, and probably never touched it again. Like, it feels like one of those games to me where it's like, this is a fun novelty, but it's clearly trying to bill itself as like a battle royale with like a season and like cosmetic unlocks, like the further you go into the season. And I'm like, I don't think it's gonna work that way. Is my honest answer. Like Alex, you've played it. Like I don't. I wonder if you agree because I feel like for a battle royale, like a traditional one with like shooting, it's like I can feel myself getting better, and that's the incentive to keep playing it. Whereas this is a goofy game. Like what it is it's a battle royale, but it's like a party game style battle royale. It's kind of like XTC is that what it's called? Most Extreme Elimination Challenge. You know what I'm
Yes.
talking about? Yes, it's like that, but like a goofy game. So you're like,
Mhm.
it's a lot of like running along paths and like a little like some light platforming, but it's very goofy. It's very silly. But it seems more like, oh, this is maybe a fun thing to break out with friends occasionally. But I can't imagine it's a thing that I'm like, I want to grind out to get like number one on this season. You know, it's just, I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I think the esports potential is somewhat limited. But nonetheless, I mean, I understand why you go with that model because like you want to have something there for people who do get into it in a severe
Mm,
way. I think that like you said, the widespread appeal of playing Fall Guys all the time is not maybe not there for at least for me. It's fun. Like I haven't had run into as much of the connectivity stuff, though I've seen lots of people reporting it. I also have mostly just been playing on PS4, and in the random times that I've booted it up and played, I've mostly gotten I not necessarily full matches, but close to it. I think it being free on PS Plus is probably ginning up a lot of interest right now as far
mm,
as that platform goes. It is fun. I think the variety of mini games is pretty good.
yeah.
I kind of hope they introduce some new ones down the road, but like you'll definitely start running into repeats not too long after you start playing. But like I don't mind that it's very light on mechanics. Like it's for what those games are and how they're designed, I think just jumping and grabbing is pretty much enough.
Yeah.
And I do really enjoy the look of the little marshmallow people that are being horribly murdered constantly in that game. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what my long term is with it. Like, it feels like a fun, novel thing to pick up a couple times a week and play a few rounds and be like, okay, I'm good. It doesn't feel like a thing that I feel a strong desire to keep playing regularly.
Yeah, like I enjoy it. I think it's fun and goofy. What, Jeff?
Is this something you think I could play with my kid?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it'd be great for that. Like I think it's pretty simplistic. I think it's very fun. I just think it's also a thing that I think I'll probably forget existed by next year. Or even by next month. Like, if we're being real, like, I think it's fun and I think it's goofy, but I think it is a little bit of like maybe riding a wave of like, whoa, look at this fun new thing. But I don't know. I've been getting, when I was playing it, I was hopping into it and it'll give you like randomized levels. You get, I think, 5 levels in total. I don't remember how many. It's like 4 or 5, I think. But I was getting a lot of the same ones again and again. So I think that also didn't help. Like, if I felt like I was getting more variety each time, maybe that would be more fun. But it was like a lot of the same level designs, the same level. So it was like, and with how long it took to connect, it just felt like not super worth it. So I'm eager to see it when it's like maybe running a bit better too.
I feel like we're going to sound like huge assholes and these quotes are going to come back to bite us when it somehow becomes the biggest game in the world, like Rocket League style. And it's just like all anyone talks about for like 2 years afterwards.
I can't imagine that happening though. Like I
find it difficult too, but it could, you never know. You never know with these things.
I guess just for me in my experience, like something like Rocket League, like you can get better at it, you can get good at it. This game, I don't necessarily think that's the case. Like there's a little bit of that, but for the most part it's like very goofy, very party game, like no real skill. Oh my god, Jeff, who are you petting?
Hey, I'm sorry if I don't know if you heard a bark.
I did.
Mr. Marty is well, he's beside himself right now. I don't know. Something he doesn't like what we were talking about. Perhaps he doesn't think Fall Guys is the PSP Plus game that we all need right now. Can you see him?
No. I think he's behind you.
Well, see, I vehemently disagree with Marty. I think that, for its even for its limitations, I actually think that Fall Guys is a perfect PS Plus game for the time that we currently live in. It is exactly the kind of dumb thing I kind of needed right about now. I mean, like I said, I don't know what my long term is with it, but in the current moment, it feels just about right.
Well, it's funny because like I feel like a lot of the conversation lately has been Game Pass versus PS Plus, and like I feel like this is the one that's come in a while where people are like, oh right, it's cool, I have this thing.
Yeah,
right.
I was also surprised they put it out on PS Plus. I mean, I think they're doing it so that way people will buy cosmetics and just getting a bunch of people to play right away, but
totally.
I don't know. I just can't imagine people are like, after this next season, are people going to buy another season pass? You know what I mean?
You never know. It's possible. Like I said, it could be the biggest esport in the world come next year. We just don't know.
I hope so. I can't wait until I can get a gamer chair, a Fall Guys esports gamer chair.
I think you just willed that into existence. So.
Where's my Eames, Herman Miller, Fall Guys esports gamer chair?
It's just a really expensive marshmallow you sit in.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
I would love that. Yeah, I feel like not enough chairs are described as marshmallows.
Oh, like, more things should be described like marshmallows.
Sorry,
right? Like, I drank my Schweppes
make
and now I'm
my pillow. Yeah, make me a pillow that's a marshmallow.
Yes.
Like
that's basically a beanbag chair. You're describing a beanbag chair, more or less.
No, but a beanbag chair is like all, pilly and like it's not.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like you can feel every bead in it. It's like, what's that fable of like the woman who like slept on a pea and she could feel it? It's like that, but like the bag's full of peas. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
don't sleep on a bag full of pea. That's my advice to you.
I'm not going to take it. Anyway, this is mostly unrelated, but I wanted to talk more about marshmallowy texture flavors. There's a video of a scientist like scooping up lava, like as it's like for samples, and the texture of it made it seem like it would be like a delicious marshmallow. I know it wouldn't be, but like it seemed like it was like marshmallowy texture, and I was like, I just want to chew on it.
Wait, back up. It was a scientist?
It was a scientist
just
getting a lava sample, fresh lava. So it was like the lava was like coming out, flowing, and he like knocked back the like outer shell and then like scooped in the lava to like a little water bucket to then like cool. It was like the hot red lava, and it looked very marshmallowy in texture.
What was used to grab lava?
It was like a little like metal stick with like a kind of like a end to it, like a little scoopy end,
like a little grabber.
Yeah.
I just always assume like lava is like, lightsaber, where like anything that touches it is just like instantly melted and vaporized.
Yeah, I mean, he was in like a full get up, like his whole face was covered.
Sure, he wasn't in shorts and sandals, just dipping over.
Just like resting on it as he like scoops into a bucket. I love my lava.
The number of people I have seen commenting that like, look, I know I shouldn't do this, but if I was in that position, I would absolutely touch the lava is maybe a perfect indictment of humanity and our mentality. It's just like, yes, we know this thing is incredibly dangerous. The thing will kill you if you touch it, but it looks
I'm watching
so
it now.
soft and nice. It looks so nice. I want to touch it.
It does. There's also...
Oh, it is pillowy in a way.
It looks like a marshmallowy texture, right?
It's upsetting though. He's using like a hat, like some sort of like
some
chisel
kind of weird
hammer.
Scoop. Yeah, I don't know.
Oof.
Anyway, as far as other games I've been playing, since you asked,
right.
I have been playing a game. Oh, I'm still playing Good Sudoku, which is on my phone. It's an app. It's just a Sudoku app. And I do still think some of the parts of it are like a little too automized where I'm like not even thinking with it. Anyway, but I was playing it and every day they have like the like daily Sudoku puzzles and it's similar to a crossword where they get like harder throughout the week and then Sunday's the hardest, right? And like they have like global leaderboards for them. And I did one last Sunday and then as I was doing it, I was early in and I accidentally hit the wrong button and then it filled in like a whole house. It just like filled in all of them and I was like, well, I should hit undo, but I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. And then I solved it in like under 3 minutes and then I got the number 1 on the global leaderboards. Nice. Which I thought was so funny.
Victory!
Like fully on accident.
Good job.
It's like forever on my record. I got a number 1.
You earned it.
Yeah, it'll never happen again. It's funny if anyone looks at my records, it's like never making top 250 and then like this one hard Sunday, like my 5th puzzle in, number 1, baby.
Yeah.
Very fun.
Way to be.
Very satisfying. Anyway, that's all I've been playing. Yeah, I don't know. It's been kind of busy around here, so I haven't been playing a whole lot.
All right, cool.
Work stuff.
We did play one other thing, which was some Deep Rock.
Yes, that game's really fun. I like that game a lot.
Yeah, I hadn't played since I think we did a multiplayer stream back in like March or April when this all started. And I'd fucked around with the early access version here and there, but I'd not really dug too deeply into it. But I feel like all the rounds we had on the stream, which is up on the site now, were very good this week. Like everything kind of fell into place. Like there was enough chaos to where it felt like we were on the verge of bad things happening. But then for the most part, we succeeded. We met our goals. We did what we want to do. We worked together. Like
yes.
It's just a good synergy to that game and its multiplayer design.
I agree. I also feel like each class, I mean, I mostly just play the one class, but I've played a few of them. But each class I feel like feels different enough while still feeling like you can do whatever you want. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like even though when you're in like the digger class or like what's the other one? Like the engineer class.
Yep.
It still feels like, you can do whatever you want in the game. You're not stuck to being like, well, I just have to heal everybody or I just have to do this. It's just more like, oh, hey, can you like pop a platform over here so I can climb up or like, can you dig ahead? Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate.
It's a thing where you can kind of split up and go with whatever pairings you want if you want to like cover more ground, and it doesn't really fuck you to have like any particular combination of people together dealing with the situation. Like, yes, there are certain abilities that you want in like major combat sequences, certainly, but it also feels like a game where you probably could roll with 4 diggers and you would be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's fun.
I have not gotten much into that, so I feel like the time is now, maybe.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a really good co-op game once you get your internet back.
Yeah.
I will say the menus could use some work. There are like too many of them. They're all spread out. They're like kind of immersive in the sense that like you can only get to the menus when you're in this like hub world. And you have to go to like a different computer, a thing over here, a thing over here. And it's confusing like where is what is what, and like what interacts with what. Like for instance, like you have to unlock a thing. It's like you eventually unlock a challenge. You have to like actively be like, I redeem this challenge I've unlocked, and then it earns you perk points, and you buy a perk, and once you get a perk you got to go to like a whole separate system and then actually put that perk into your like loadout, and then it's not always clear of like, oh, I just bought a perk that's going to replace this other perk versus having both the perks. It's like stuff like that is just like, I think could use some work, could use some streamlining, but otherwise really having a lot of fun.
What and what are you playing it on?
It's only on PC, I think.
Yeah, it's only PC.
I've been playing on the PC. I haven't looked for it anywhere else, but we've just been playing.
Making notes.
PC. Works well with a controller. Works well with a keyboard and mouse. I've been enjoying it both ways.
Very good. That's all I really got. Do we pivot to news now, or what do you want to do?
I got one other thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry, Alex.
Here we go.
Yeah, just one thing. Okay. I mean, the main things I've been actually playing are Fall Guys in Deep Rock this last week, but I have become slightly not obsessed, but interested in this thing that I've seen everyone on social media talking about, and I'm starting to dig into it a little bit. It's called Blazeball.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Blazeball.
You keep you're sounding like you're saying Blazeball.
It's more Blaseball.
Blaseball.
Yeah. I have not actually heard a person say this out loud, so I might be pronouncing it wrong. I say Blazeball.
Why?
To me, Blaseball is just like baseball.
Oh, is this like baseball? I was thinking blaze, like blaze. You know, that's a pipe, blaze.
Yeah, like twisting one in blaze.
What is that?
I was gonna do a joint, and then I switched it to a pipe, so it was kind of in between. But like,
whoa,
or I guess a bowl.
That's a fancy contraption you have there.
It's a bowl.
I gotta see that. Look at someone knows what they're doing. I think you're
let me get into my pipe here as well.
I think you're lighting it too much.
I like the. That's how I light one up. Is I do like the staggered lighting, like boop 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 boop, just so it's like kind of on fire here and there.
It's like one of those pull start lighters. You really have to.
Yeah, you got to
get
pulse
going.
Anyway, I feel like writing it down, it's like baseball, but Blaseball. I feel like I've always, like when I read it, I always want to say Blaseball.
Yeah. I mean, there's any number of ways it seems like you can pronounce it, but the core concept is this. It's absurd baseball and only simulated absurd baseball stats.
How do you play it?
The website is called Blazeball.com. You go there, and there are constantly matches happening between the various teams, which include names like the Baltimore Crabs, the New York Millennials, the Hades Tigers, which are my favorite. Was it the Hellmouth Sunbeams, another great one. The Canada Moist Talkers.
Moist Talkers?
And so each team is outfitted with a bunch of names who all play different positions. They all have different star ratings. And then the games are just constantly simulated, and people are encouraged to bet fake money on these games to build up your currency, which you can then use to spend on things in the shop like voting rights, which you use to basically the most voted upon I guess what essentially boil down to, like, boost stat changes, things like that, will apply to the next season, which we're already in the third season of this, despite the fact that it's only existed for, I think, a couple of weeks.
Wait. Okay, I have questions. By
all means, but ask away. I have maybe a couple of answers.
That's fine. That's more than enough. So, this is like a concurrent thing. Like, it doesn't just happen for you. It is just happening all the time.
Yes, it is constantly simulating games, series between the different teams. There's a ticker that goes by that kind of lets you know like what's going on, and also reminds you that the commissioner is doing a great job. And there's like a shop where you can buy some stuff, which most of it is stupid. There's the election, which is where you vote on things that will apply to the next season, and also blessings for particular players and things, I think. And there is a book that explains the rules. A lot of it is redacted.
Okay, I am feeling this shit. By the way,
is this very much? Sorry, you keep going.
No, I just, it's going for a thing that is speaking to me. Who's doing this?
So I don't actually know. I have some suspicions based on some of the people who were first tweeting about it. I think I might know who some of the associated people are, but I have not asked or dug into it, so I don't really know.
Can I ask you who were the people first tweeting about it?
One of the people I saw tweeting about it at the very beginning was Felix Kramer.
Okay, because I actually had like a guess without even doing it, but okay, who else?
It's just random indie devs, and I feel like it's people that are maybe part of the same sort of like friend group. But Felix is the first person I remember seeing tweeting about it, and
Interesting.
me wondering what the fuck they were talking about.
Huh.
But yeah, so this is ongoing right now. It's in beta technically. Like it's not, it seems like they're potentially still going to add some stuff to it. I would really love it if there was more logs of how each game went. Like there's an ongoing ticker that tells you what each play that's happening, who's striking out, who's doing what. But like I think if you're not paying attention to it constantly, you kind of lose some of the details of like what's taking place within sort of like the emergent story of
Interesting.
Blazeball. I would love it if there was more logging of that stuff. Maybe there is somewhere and I just haven't found it.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe.
but nonetheless, like as a thing that is sort of playing off the desire to play fantasy sports and make it really stupid, I respect it. I respect what they are doing here.
Yeah, it seems I just love things that feel fresh and fun, and it's just cool. Just a good
I
idea.
like goofy
What so like the
baseball.
stats are insane though? Like is that a thing too?
The stats aren't like super insane. Like the star ratings are pretty normal, and like like the way the games play out, it seems like it feels like a baseball is happening.
Yeah.
But there's also occasional moments where like there's a concept in the game which I believe is the shame, which is that if you are, I think if the team is in the lead at the top of the ninth and then they get beaten at the bottom of the ninth, they are shamed into finishing out the rest of the game. No, even though they've mathematically lost, like the last team can run up as many runs as they want on the other team. And I think there have been a couple of grand shames, which might be like grand slams that take place at the end of a game. So again, I'm still figuring out some of the details of this thing. Like again, the book itself is somewhat redacted, so I don't necessarily understand everything that's happening here. It just seems like a good weird concept, if nothing else.
I have a
Yeah.
question.
Yes.
So it's very baseball to just care about the statistics and all this, but like, what exactly is the gameplay? Because you're not controlling the characters. It doesn't seem like you're doing any of that. It seems like you're more like watching a thing unfold. Is the gameplay like betting on characters or like choosing a team and hoping they win?
Yeah, the betting is as far as I can tell, like the really interactive
Yeah.
part of this. For the
Okay.
most part, it's just kind of watching it develop and seeing, like, figuring out who the star players are and what they're like, what the weird rule changes are from season to season. Like I said, this is a thing I've gotten into in the last couple of days, and I still don't really understand it. It's just a thing that I saw everyone talking about, and I came to realize that I needed to respect its power and at least try and figure out what it was.
I wanna watch Blaseball.
Yeah, I'm so like my brain instantly goes, okay, I am going to now introduce it to my annoying baseball friends.
Oh yes, that's who
And
this is for.
I'm going to do this to them, and see what happens. But I'm feeling it. Are there player names or
Yes,
just
every
team?
team
Okay.
has a set number of player names. Let me just pull up this website here and give you a couple from the Baltimore Crabs roster. There's Kennedy Loser, Sutton Dreamy, Oliver Not a Robot, uh, Tillman Henderson, and over there on the
Tillman.
Tigers, we have Fish Summer, we have Jessica Telephone, Moody Cookbook, Zion Alicia Keys, Dunlap Figueroa, Famous Owens, some
How
stupid star
is
players here.
how is like John Boy's not behind this too, right? Like,
I think this is at least partially inspired by the works of John Boyce to the point
yeah.
where there is a character whose last name is John Boyce. So
Okay.
it's very very referential that way.
This certainly feels like, the Charlie Kaufmaning of like his subconscious coming out, and like no one made this. It just appeared one day.
Right,
And
someone
that's
found a funnel into his brain, and this is what started leaking out.
right. I like that story. That's the story we should tell.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah,
Awesome.
blazeball.com if you want to check it out for yourself, find yourself a favorite team.
That's
Like I said, I don't really know where
BLASE,
this is
right?
going. What's that?
BLASE. Yes.
Yes,
Blaseball.
blaseball.com.
It's going somewhere because you got to sign up for it. So something's
Yeah.
going on. So
They have a Patreon if you want to support it.
Oh wow.
The last thing I wanted to bring up very briefly, Abby, you might be interested in this.
Okay.
Over the weekend, I was informed by my girlfriend that she wanted to watch the 2006 Animal Crossing animated film, of which I remembered existed, but had never actually seen or really heard much about.
I think I've seen parts of it. I don't think I've actually watched it.
Yeah, she was just curious because it had at least one villager from her town in it, and she loves like Pascal and Tom Nook and all those characters, and just wanted to see what it was about. So I dug it up. We watched it. Let me tell you right now, the 2006 Animal Crossing film is not very good.
Shocker, I can't say I'm not surprised. I remember the animation looked kind of charming, but I was like, this is not what I want out of Animal Crossing. I want me in there. I don't want to watch some other weirdo do it,
Yeah, it has the rhythm of watching someone else play Animal Crossing, but in a way less interesting way. Yeah. So it's a story of a girl who moves to Animal Village. She's essentially the player one villager. Some stuff happens. None of it matters. Like there's a couple of loose attempts at a plot, but for the most part, it is really just a parade of the characters you recognize showing up, doing a thing you recognize them doing, and then disappearing. Like Tom Nook is there at the beginning, the mayor's there, and occasionally he's complaining about the fact that people don't recognize him, don't care about him, Tortimer. Pascal shows up for exactly one scene, says one line, and then disappears.
Classic.
Yeah, I don't necessarily expect a lot from an animated Animal Crossing film. I get it. It's basically just fan service, and it does a lot of that. There's a boy villager that keeps showing up and causing mischief, and he's always wearing weird random outfits from the game, which I think is an okay touch. But like the actual movie necessity is just not there at all. Not good. Yeah. So
I hope what I want from this movie is I hope that the main character just like spends half the movie just like shaking trees and like pulling weeds and just doing the most boring, like just talking to villagers and having them say the same shit again and again. That's what I want. That's my dream for this game.
It's like a greatest hits collection where the characters go through all the motions of what you do in an Animal Crossing game at least once. But like the way they try to tie that together into a plot is at best nonsensical. Is the very, very courteous review I will give it.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, I just figured, it's a brand. This has been your 2006 animated film minute from Alex Navarro. I hope you enjoyed it. I just, the amount of Animal Crossing I've been playing lately, I was curious about it myself, and it is a bad movie.
Where'd y'all watch it?
The internet.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, that's a good enough answer for this conversation. Okay, very good.
Honestly, answers everything.
Yep.
Okay, well.
Real quick though,
okay.
Do you get to the point where I feel like at this point I stop watching things now where I'm just like, I've given this film 30 minutes. Your time is up. I'm a grown ass adult and I don't have time for this shit. And I just go, pop.
It's really hard. I love seeing movies in theaters because it forces me to stay focused on it. It's also hard, especially now during quarantine when I'm home all the time, to not just get like distracted halfway through any movie I watch.
Yeah.
Like finishing anything
totally fair.
is not easy.
Yeah, but in the case of this movie, it was the cuteness factor was enough to keep my attention for most of it. Like, 'cause, it's the characters. It's cute. I like the cuteness. But if I had not been at least enthralled by that, I probably would have turned that thing off like 35 minutes in for sure. I don't have that patience anymore. If it's a movie, if I actively hate what I'm watching, I will just turn it off.
Yeah,
understandable. Sure. Abby, the lack of internet did allow me to pop in What We Do in the Shadows for Stacy.
Ooh. The movie, the DVD, the Blu-ray.
The movie.
I have let you loan infinitely. Forever.
Did you want
no,
that back or okay?
I mean,
cool.
I'm upset, but you can have it.
I also have Dan's MacGruber Blu-ray, which he is actively pursuing. But
I have my own MacGruber Blu-ray, so you can have What We Do in the Shadows. I'm happy to pass it forward to you. Did she like it?
Yes. We watched it over the course of 2 nights, and it's I'll say this. I don't know if I wish that I watched it before the show. Obviously there's like so much that, it's tough to like I don't know, I feel like I maybe would have ingested it differently, like the whole experience, because I
Sure.
knew what I was getting out of this movie before I saw it.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. Like I
you
saw that
know
movie in theaters. It was my first movie I saw with my movie pass when that was a thing before everyone had it. And it was so fun. It also like I feel like it has a lot of the same tone as the show and a lot of
yes,
the same aesthetics
absolutely.
as the show, but I feel like the movie feels much more like improvised, whereas the show
Yeah.
feels much more scripted.
Yes, I like, and I also love that it's like it is different characters. It is
Yeah.
I really appreciate, I guess, like the artistry of actually adapting that thing to an episodic TV show, which I think is like a really fun thing to kind of watch.
And I think a huge part of it is the cast, though. Like, I think
Totally.
that the movie has a great cast too. Like,
Yes.
it's a terrific group of characters, and the story they're telling there is really fun. But I think that the show just straight up doesn't work if you don't have the murderer's row of good comedic actors that the show has, because there's not a bad one on that
Yeah.
show. Everyone is like firing at 100 on that thing, and it's amazing.
It is amazingly well casted for sure. Um, Also, real quick, we could do a little bit of TV stuff, I guess, because Papa Vinny's not here. But I started watching Dark.
What's that?
I've heard of this. I don't know what it is.
Dark is a German show that Netflix, I guess, acquired,
Okay.
and it started coming out. I think they must have just popped up the third season, I want to say.
Okay.
I think the first season was 2017, which is like right around the time of Stranger Things 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into like a tiny micro Twitter conversation last night about how like basically Dark is like the sort of substance that people wished Stranger Things had. Like
Okay.
like the Venn diagram is there and there's a lot of similarities and overlaps, but Dark seems to have like the chops where Stranger Things, and like someone was saying like, oh, I was replying to someone. I was like, you're right, like I don't feel much of anything when I watch Stranger Things aside from like, yeah, I like fucking 80s shit, or
Yeah.
that's a dope ass opening title sequence, I fucking love that shit, hell yeah. And like, yeah, you love the nostalgia and love the whole thing, but the thing with Dark is just like it's like weirder, it has like bigger stakes, and it's just sort of the thing that like within those two shows there's like the perfect thing, which is fine. And again, I like them both, they're great, I'm glad they both exist, but I don't know, I'm feeling Dark in a way that so someone on my hockey team had recommended to me years ago, and I always kind of just kicked the can, and I couldn't get Stacy to like really commit until we like had this opening, and now that we're like in it to win it. Like we are sucked on in, and it's pretty great.
Where are you watching it again?
It's Netflix. It's a Netflix show.
Dark.
Dark.
Wow.
Dark.
Perhaps I should watch.
Yeah, watch it up.
I didn't like Stranger Things though. That show never. I don't have any 80s nostalgia, and it felt very much like that's kind of what it was serving.
Oh yeah,
definitely. It's just like a lot. It's like a synth pie. It's like a synth cake. And could you eat this laser synth cake and come back a couple times? And you can. Tastes good. Like cake's good.
I mean, I love a laser synth cake that's flavored like Ecto Cooler. That's exactly what I want. Yes, I want that for my life. Like,
are you cool with this like forever repeating grid background that just happens forever, like you're in fucking Tron or some shit?
Yes.
Like, yeah. I'll sure.
I'll live inside Max Headroom. I'll do that. Sure. I'm down.
You're gonna give me an I'll keep taking that, of course. And you got like real solid FX. Like, yeah, I'll watch that. I'll watch some good CG. Sure, let's fuck. Anyway, that's all I got. I guess we take a break.
Sure. Shall I play the break music? It's gonna be quiet, so listen hard. Here we go.
All right, I guess we take a break.
And we are back from our break. And we have a new little guest joining us. Who's this, Jeff?
This is Marty. He's an old crotchety man.
Oh, I love him. This is your dog. Jeff is petting a dog right now. The dog looks like if somebody voiced him in a movie it would be.
Yeah,
I'm
what would
trying
it
to
be?
think of an
would it
old
be like
actor, and I can't.
I'm getting like a real like a Jack Lemmon vibe.
a Jack Lemmon vibe? The only like dog voice I could ever think of is I like Richard Kind. Someone said in the
Oh, that's
chat.
good.
But like you in Roger Rabbit, the droopy dog is just like, well, my life is a piece of shit, like that. But he's not really that. He's not like a basset hound.
I feel like he's more like I smoked like 100 cigarettes a day kind of dog.
Oh, dude, he was like a pack a day Marlboro guy for sure.
Exactly. Like trying to solve mysteries.
He's always been 30 dog years old. You know.
I could also see like Funkhauser from Curb Your Enthusiasm, Super Dave. I could see that kind of raspy sort of.
That guy, yeah.
I love him.
About? What are we doing?
You're a damn fool. Yeah, that guy.
I want to meet him.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He just celebrated his 11th birthday.
Wow, he's almost as old as
Tater. He's almost as old as who?
Tater Tot.
Oh, all right. Well, they're kindred spirits, I guess.
I just had a weird thought about Tater the other day because he's almost 13, and I had a thought of like, wow, if he was an actual child, he'd be like a teenager. Isn't that so weird? Also,
but in reality, he's closer to like 65.
And he's like 68 or something, yeah. Which is
nuts. He's like thinking about like
man.
retiring and.
Yeah. Still acts like an
okay,
idiot,
so Marty's just this is what he does. Marty just like he's sitting on an ottoman. He doesn't look comfortable. Like, why are you doing that? This is what he does. He just like finds places that he can just like the other day he was like laying across all of our sandals. Like, it seems like the bumpiest, most uncomfortable shit you would ever want to lay on.
But it probably smells like you, which is what he likes.
Yeah, he goes where he wants to go.
It's better than what my cat does, which is he takes over the entire couch and my entire bed, and I don't have space for anything. I don't have space for me. Anyway.
All right, I guess we have to do the news because, I don't know, we always do, so I guess we should just do it, right? Because
tradition.
It's what we're supposed to do, so I guess, Alex, put on your news hat and let's knock these out, man.
All right. Well, there's actually a decent number of stories this week, but I actually want to lead with a story that I did not put on the dock. It is a secret news story, a forbidden news story.
Oh my God.
A piece of news that I think will shock the world and make you question everything you believe in. So Wario64, we all know him. We all love him. He gives us the video game deals on a regular basis on the Twitter.
Oh, okay. Okay, sure.
Who's he really?
Twitter account.
Yeah. Well, I'm perfectly happy to let him have his anonymity as long as he can continue to bring us these hot deals. He brought us maybe one of the greatest ones I've ever seen him bring us this week. Gamefly. That's still a website that apparently still rents video games and
like
films and other things. That's like you buy a game
online and they like mail it to you and then you just return it?
It's online rentals.
Okay, sure, I'd do it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a Gamefly subscription at one point. It worked. I don't use it anymore, but it was a thing that I used several years ago. And they will periodically purge their stock of rental media by selling it on the website. And there was apparently this past week they threw up a whole bunch of UMD PSP movies for sale on their website that you could buy in 2020. And I have never felt more like I fell into a different time period than I did seeing that link this week of just UMD movies for sale in 2020.
Did you buy any?
No, I didn't, but it seems like a bunch of people did because there were way more on this page when I first looked at it, but a bunch of them have sold out. So here is the current selection of stock that you can buy right now on Gamefly if you want some UMD films. The Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn second movie, Made. Not Swingers, Made.
No, you don't want that one.
No.
Familiar.
The Ollie G Show's first season, Disc 2, not Disc 1. That one's sold out. You can only get the second half of the season.
Which is, if I recall, was pretty good, I'm sure. So,
yeah, but if you're a completionist, maybe not the way to go.
Yeah.
The remake of House of Wax featuring Paris Hilton. The sequel to Anaconda, Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid. A Cuba Gooding Jr. movie called Dirty, which I think is about cops. The Jake Gyllenhaal military movie Jarhead,
Oh,
The
sure.
the remake of The Fog, the the Get Shorty sequel, Be Cool, the Owen Wilson, Gene Hackman military thriller, Behind Enemy Lines,
Wow.
and a basketball movie called Crossover. That's it. That's what you can get right now if you want.
There's some like prophetic list where those films are there, and it's just like they're the keys to the end times.
Yep. Owning a copy of Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid on UMD is the final key in the door that unlocks Armageddon.
Can't wait to watch it in like a beautiful 360p.
Yeah. I think it did 480.
Okay.
God, those like I mean, I didn't own any of them personally, but Alex, you definitely did.
Not UMD movies. I have games. I have physical PSP games, but I do not have any UMD movies.
You know what I got a few of? I was also young, so part of it. But when I had my DS, you know, it had the Game Boy Advance cartridge slot. I never had a Game Boy Advance, but they had those like full Nickelodeon shows where they would have like 3 shows on like one cartridge, and I would get those, and they were so pixelated, and I fucking loved them. I had like Fairly Odd Parents, I had SpongeBob, I think I had Rocket Power. I fucking loved those things. I thought it was the coolest thing in the whole wide world.
That's incredible.
That is very cool. I like that. Oh man, that is so wild. I would just whenever I would play with a UMD, I would like always. I would like fuck with like the window on it. Like I would like spin it around, and like there was like a weird access like part of it. God, those were weird fucking things.
I always love, like, one of my favorite things in the world is media ephemera, like just technologies that were meant to be the next big thing but never took off. The the HD DVDs of the world, the Betamaxes, what have you. Like that shit is always super fascinating to me.
Yeah, for sure.
I had a friend who was very, very into mini disc.
Wow.
Bless them.
Yeah.
Bless them.
All right. Now that dumbness is out of the way, let's talk about some actual news. This is a quick one. It's an update on a story we talked about, which was the writers for the Love Struck app that were on strike. It sounds like their negotiations were in fact successful. They have made a deal with Voltage, the developer that runs Love Struck. And it sounds like at the very least, they're getting the majority of what they want. They are getting pay raises that are much more in line with the average rate per word for people that do their line of work. And it sounds like that situation has worked itself out.
That's good.
Good.
Yeah. Labor actions. It works. So Jeff, you might, I don't know if you've read up recently on the current xCloud stuff, but there has been some xCloud announcements over the last couple of days, including a launch date for the Android platform, which is where I believe it will be first debuting, which will be this September. And then also apparently that iOS beta got cut short because reasons.
Yeah, well, first off, I just want everyone to really embrace the first win ever for Android.
Okay.
This has been decades in the making. And it's not a bad one either.
Congratulations, like Jeff.
We didn't just get some like secondhand bullshit. Like this feels like an important kind of win. So I'm stoked about that.
Please, I have a edible arrangement sent to you, so please keep an eye out for it.
Thank you. I'll take it.
It's a kiwi shaped like the Android guy.
Okay, I will enjoy it. What is so like? I guess I was sort of thinking about like, well, you do understand like maybe a business reason as to why an iOS thing is maybe not something they're chomping at the bit for, but I don't know. I still think it will be a thing one day, but I guess I'm more surprised as to its quote unquote disappearance.
Yeah. Well, so what was happening is I guess they were running a beta on iOS, but it was supposed to run for I think at least a few more weeks, and then it just got cut off. And they have basically said there's no timetable for bringing xCloud to iOS at this point. And people have pointed out that Stadia does not work on iOS either. NVIDIA Shield stuff does not work on iOS, as far as I know. So there may just be a roadblock somewhere within Apple in terms of their guidelines and policies that just prevents streaming platforms like in the vein of xCloud from working on that platform. And it might, I don't know if that's specifically because Apple only wants to have their own shit doing that tech on there, or if it's just some other arcane reason. I don't know enough about like what the current iOS guidelines for this stuff are to really pontificate on it, but it just seems like that seems incredibly short-sighted if you're not actually going to let any of these companies use this kind of tech on your platform, considering A, how many people use your platform, and B, how many people will likely use this kind of technology.
Yeah, I mean, the door swings both ways, right? Like there are plenty of things that are landlocked to iOS outside of specifically game streaming. You know, unfortunately, like where certain things move in the right direction with like crossplay and whatnot, there's other, roadblocks in other sort of facets like this, which sucks. I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I think for me, the thing that I think about a lot is like the timing of xCloud and how that's going to be like a bigger potential piece of their, overall pitch come the holidays and, Series X and whatnot. So yeah, I gotta say, I'm definitely super curious to see what this looks like, if only because like this is their pitch now. Like it's not, like their pitch is Game Pass, right? Like that is the thing now. So this being a part of that in a way that, it requires you to have that ultimate thing. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm ready to see what's up.
Yeah. That's all I got on the xCloud front. We got a couple of PlayStation stories here as well. So on the PlayStation blog this past week, they have outlined essentially what PS4 hardware will work on the PS5.
Yeah.
And it sounds like it will be the vast majority of stuff, like the racing wheels, the different headsets, and like PlayStation Move controllers. All that stuff will work on the PS5 for the games that support it. And the PS4 dual, like the DualShock 4, will work also on the console, but it will not work for PS5 exclusive games. They are saying that the PS5 controller is the only one that will work for those games, and I kind of understand why that would be the case. I don't necessarily think it's a great reason not to do it, which is to say that obviously the PS5 controller does support a few things that the PS4 does not. And it obviously would take some development work for PS5 developers to be like, hey, we can make these controllers work. But you could do it. Like, there's no law that says you can't do it. It's just that they feel like that's where they want to put the gate, it seems like.
Yeah. I mean, again, like, they are a generational console company, right?
Right.
And this
they keep saying it.
Emphasizing that. Yeah, this is not like a trade industry secret. They're just like, yo, it's time to turn the page. Here we go. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, they've sort of said that for PSVR users, the PlayStation camera for PS4 will work on the PS5, but it requires an adapter. But that adapter will be free, I guess. I don't know how they're going to get it to people, if it's going to be in the box, if you have to ask for it or what, but they are not going to charge you for a PlayStation camera adapter, it sounds like.
Okay.
That's good.
But there is also going to be a new camera, I guess. So if you want to buy a new PlayStation camera, open it, use it 3 times, and then never use it again, you can do that.
Man, you think there's still a conversation about that's got to be had?
Where it's about whether we even do a camera?
Yeah, they did. I think they showed one off in that tease of all the hardware accessories that are going to be around.
Well, there have got to be people who are still using. I bet there are people who are like video chatting. Like there are also people who stream, I think, exclusively from their PlayStation and probably use the camera for that. Like, I think that there's probably like the weird subset of people who are like, this is my jam. I love my PlayStation camera. There's also the VR, which needs it. Which I think is
the VR is
the
requirement.
Thing.
But
yeah.
I will say I don't know that I have ever heard anyone say the words to me, I love my PlayStation camera, even from people I know who work at PlayStation. So take that for what it's worth.
Right, but I'm sure there's somebody out there. It's like that guy who was like, I don't know, it's like people who use the Wii U as like their general browser for like the internet. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be someone who's like, this is how I look at stuff online. When I go to chat roulette, I have my PlayStation camera and like everything's rolling. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's that guy out there.
Yes,
I love those edge cases as well.
Yes.
I only use Kinect to control the lights in my house, and that is how I do it. I love it, and this is my platform.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, speaking of things that won't work on other platforms, if you want to play that Marvel Avengers, you can do that on several different platforms. It's going to be on the PS5 and the Xbox and the PC. But if you want to play as Spidey Man, the web crawler, the guy who has the spider powers, can't do that if you want an Xbox on PC. It's going to be a PlayStation exclusive character. The Spider-Man exclusivity continues on unchecked.
Wow, I bet people are really mad about this one.
Wait, so I'm confused. Is it because of the whole like relationship with like Sony? In some again, I'm sure I will misspeak and will welcome plenty of corrections on this because no one knows exactly what the truth of the matter really is when it comes down to it. But is it because is the only reason because not only does PlayStation own the Spider-Man font, but also Spider-Man as a character?
Well, they don't own Spider-Man as a character. That's Disney. But as far as like Spider-Man has appeared in other stuff. Like he was, I believe Spider-Man was in that Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 game that came out last year for the Switch.
Okay.
So I think it may boil down to there may be some sort of whatever the current deal with Sony is. There might be like a first right of refusal there, where like if Spider-Man is going to appear in video game entertainment, and I would assume probably in movies as well, considering where that deal was, maybe Sony has to sign off on it, and maybe in the case of something like Avengers, where having specific characters is potentially a big boon for them, and maybe they've already made like a big marketing spend on that game for other exclusive content. They just said, nah, we want Spidey. We want him for us.
Huh.
It's a guess. I don't know. They have not specified exactly why this is. Crystal Dynamics has kind of talked around it a little bit and just said like, it's happening. But sorry, what was that?
Didn't Sony also publish like the movies?
They produced all of them up until, well, they co-produced the recent ones, I think. But the ones like the first 3 Sam Raimi ones, and then the 2 that were after that was all Sony, and Into the Spider-Verse was Sony as well.
Okay, because I feel like they've had their hands on Spider-Man for a while.
Yes, they definitely have. I don't really know the terms of that deal in specificity. I don't know like what they have exclusive rights to versus rights of refusal versus like they have no say over. I just know that they are working with Disney more now, and especially with the Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff.
Plus, it's way more fun to just presume ridiculous details about what the actual details of that deal is,
right?
Where it's like, well, it's only Noir Spider-Man, and he has to be, in his certain suit, and that's when Sony owns him. The second he gets out of that suit, it is then a Marvel property, as we all know.
I hate this kind of shit. If you're gonna do it, I feel like you have to go the old Soul Calibur route and just have exclusive characters on each platform. So there needs to be an Xbox exclusive Avenger that shows up somewhere along the way.
And they're not doing that.
No, they're not doing that. So, but if they do decide to do it, my vote is Spawn.
Spawn?
I don't know enough.
Isn't that like always the answer?
Superheroes.
Yeah, because he was the exclusive character for Xbox in Soul Calibur.
What's the green? The Hulk. Make Xbox and have the Hulk.
I don't think they will give the Hulk to Xbox. The Hulk is too powerful.
I don't know. They gave Spider-Man to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Agreed, but isn't it that the Hulk is an actual Avenger? Spider-Man is just like
he's sometimes an Avenger.
Yeah, he's like a secondary Avenger. He's not like the A squad. He's like a B squad Avenger.
I mean, there's been a lot of different squads of Avengers, so I'm hesitant to say anything with any real authority about that because I don't read those comics.
Just feel like he's not an Avenger starting lineup guy. I feel like he's maybe like, he's like he's got some depth maybe, but like not a starter.
Like when one of his villains gets mixed up with the Avengers, he steps in and is like, all right, look, I know this. I know Electro. Let's deal with this. Let's figure it out. But he's not necessarily there at all the meetings.
Right. Exactly. Good point.
Okay.
All right. What else we got?
Well, speaking of the Wii U, Abby,
Ooh.
you bringing that up today?
I love
how
talking about
dare
the Wii
you
U. I've been
speak
playing my
of
Wii
the
U
Wii
a
U?
lot lately.
Yeah, well, the Wii U is about to get even less necessary to continue owning because Pikmin
No.
3 is coming to Switch this October in a new version. It's a deluxe edition that has some additional content, but by and large is also just Pikmin 3, which is a pretty solid Wii U game as Wii U games go. And now I'm pretty sure Super Mario 3D World is the only one left.
I know. It's like, what haven't they brought over? Because, like, Splatoon 2 is like Splatoon 1 plus extra.
Yeah.
Like, what
Wait,
like
was
what Wii U thing?
Galaxy 2 was Wii 1? Was
That was Wii
Wii?
1. That was Wii Wii.
They put
Wii
I don't know why that's so funny to me. Did they put Zombie U on the Switch or anything else?
No, well, they did put that out on, I guess, 360 and PS3, I think.
Yeah, that feels right.
They did do ports of that, and my understanding was that the ports were not well received. I don't know if I ever actually played those versions of that game, but they did not like the way they tried to translate that onto a non-Wii U console.
Interesting. Good to know. Wild.
But yeah, I really do think 3D World is the only like big one left that has not found its way over to the Switch, and I feel like that's got to be the okay. Well, we're doing that next year, and then we can just officially sunset the Wii U and never talk about it again.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely gonna happen.
I love my Wii U. I love my trophy Wii U.
I've got nothing against the Wii U. I feel bad for it because it is a perpetually shat upon console. And it is only going to be remembered as the place where a bunch of Switch games used to live.
Yeah, or like it was like the farm system for the Switch. I mean,
totally.
I mean, I get it. Like I have fond-ish or fond adjacent memories of my, Wii U, but I do think like some level of shade is fair. Casted towards that console.
Look, I'm not saying it's a good console. I'm saying I liked it. I like a lot of that stuff.
Like, yeah. I mean, like that thing didn't really work through walls. Like that's
okay. What I will say is my Wii U is hooked up in my living room, which is over there, like that way, and then I have been bringing the tablet into here. And if the door is just like a little cracked, it works. I'm just saying, it works. Good. It works.
I was recently
but it works.
Asked to relive, and I'm sure you were there, Alex, to relive that debut of the Wii U in the Nokia Theater.
I remember that, yes.
And just like that whole, what was it, like the last 20-25 minutes of that E3 presentation?
It was a vibe. It was a very disconcerting vibe. That's what I remember, is just being like, okay, this is what we're doing now, sure. And no one really having any, I don't know. Like I don't remember anyone I was in the room with feeling very enthusiastic about that thing as it was unveiled, but also just being like, all right, sure, Nintendo goes on weird tangents, let's see where this goes. And well, we saw where it went.
I distinctly remember audibly hearing someone being like, oh no, what are you doing? No, like stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. When they let us play right after, you remember that? There were like all those mini games. There were like the one thing that always stuck with me was like that Donkey Kong like tilt.
Yeah.
That thing, for whatever reason, always it was probably like a Nintendo Land mini game or something like that. But anyway, that was quite the show.
Weird times. Anyway, so Wii U, don't catch it because they're not putting any games out for it, and two, the games that you could buy for it will eventually all be on Switch. So just, don't buy a Wii U. That's my advice to you.
Or do.
The consumer.
It's a Wii and a Wii U. It's a Wii and a Switch Junior, basically.
Sure.
Okay.
No. It's a prototype. It was a prototype for the Switch. It was clearly, they sold a prototype and then they paid for it.
Look, they bounced back like nobody's business, though, so who cares?
Oh, they're doing just fine now. I mean,
I'm not worried about that.
They won in the end.
Yeah.
I mean, look, sometimes it takes a little bit of like, crawling on your hands and knees to get to the top of the mountain, right? This is what happens.
Or sometimes you're on top of the mountain and then you fall off the mountain and then you climb back up the mountain and you're on top of the mountain again.
You're like, I don't get it. I was just on the top of the mountain. What happened?
Yep.
That's all. That's all.
All right. Well, these last few stories I'm just going to run through quickly here. There's not a whole lot to say about them. I don't think there's any Street Fighter V players here besides myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hell no.
Okay. Yeah, I also haven't played it in a while, but I think there's another raft of characters coming to Street Fighter V if you're into that sort of thing, including Dan, one of the more ridiculous characters in all things Street Fighter, Rose, who was in Street Fighter 4, Oro, who I don't think has been seen since Street Fighter 3, and Akira from Rival Schools, which is a game that I have definitely listened to the band that had the name Rival Schools way more than I've played the actual game that the name was based on. So I know people like Rival Schools. I just don't think I've ever actually played it more than maybe once ever.
Rival Schools. Fascinating.
It was a very well liked Capcom fighting game from the late 90s. And so yeah, that's 4 of the 5 characters. There's a 5th one that will be announced later on, but has not been announced yet. But that is, I think, the last raft of DLC characters that are coming to that game. So, if you're a big Oro fan, now's your time to shine.
Okay. Riveting update. Thank you so much, Alex.
Just had to throw that out there because I don't know. I care about Street Fighter V characters for some dumb reason. Here's the thing I don't care about, but I'm sure some people do. Beyond Good and Evil is getting a movie, apparently.
Stop making video games into movies. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah, especially a game where the sequel to it has been in development for so long that people don't actually believe it exists. But hey, let's just throw a movie out there. Why not?
Look, trying to get the hype train going.
Yeah, so this is going to be on Netflix, and the director that has been tapped for it is the guy who did Detective Pikachu, Rob Letterman. So if that is a thing you are all excited about, I mean, if you really need more Beyond Good and Evil in your life, you're probably going to be waiting for that game for a while longer. So maybe this will come out first.
Ubisoft's really like, they're doing the Hollywood thing, man. They're like, this is what they want to be.
I mean, they really just want you to talk about anything else going on with Ubisoft other than what's actually going on with Ubisoft. So this is a perfect time to announce that project.
Yes. I mean, you know, they did that thing with the Sunny guys, right? The Mythic
that show,
Quest
yes.
thing, which
I think there's a second season of that coming soonish.
Did you give that a shot? Did you give that show a shot?
I never actually sat down to watch it. I heard it was all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Why not? Beyond Good and Evil, the movie.
And the last story here I'm going to hit very quickly. Frog Fractions. You love it, right?
I played it. I remember, I think I told you and Vinny and Dan I'd never played it before. I had never played it before or really heard of it. And then Vinny was like, stop what you're doing and play this. And I spent like an hour at work at my desk playing through Frog Fractions. Fascinating experience.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a second one.
Well, so yeah, the Frog Fractions apparently just arrived on Steam, and there is a DLC for the game that I think is just billed as a special hat. And if you buy that special hat DLC, it sounds like you get Frog Fractions 3. Actually, it's Frog Fractions 3 is in the hat DLC, but the developer is also saying it might be Frog Fractions 4. No one's quite sure.
Okay, cool.
But yes, their fake DLC turned out to be more Frog Fractions.
That seems like a thing they would do.
That's exactly how that should have gone.
Right, yeah. Just stumbled upon.
Yep. So that's the news that I've got. I don't know if anyone else has anything, but that is what I was able to find over the last week.
I don't necessarily have any news. There was that State of Play stream. Was that? I didn't catch that. Was that?
I did not catch that, no.
Anyone catch that?
The only news I have, is that my cat's licking his little face.
Ooh, yeah, I don't think there's anything super exciting announced at that thing. Like they certainly didn't announce any console prices or anything, or we would have heard about it by now.
I am still seeing this like widely shared, rumor on more quote unquote reputable sites than I'd care to see. I guess where like that $400 and $500, price tag is the thing that keeps getting floated around. But again,
I genuinely believe both companies are deeply afraid of having the wrong price, and they are just going to be playing this game of chicken as long as they possibly can until someone makes a move so that they can make the other move. And we're just not going to get a price until Black Friday. Like, it won't cost anything until then.
It will be, yeah, I was going to say, like, it will be fucking Halloween night.
Yep.
And we will be like, well, we still don't quite know how much these consoles are going to go for. So do what you. Apparently, the state of play hasn't happened yet. Thank you, chat room. I'm a huge fucking idiot.
I mean, you were without power for a day. You're still without internet. You're forgiven. You were forgiven for not being up on every little thing.
I don't forgive you. I'm going to cancel you over this. I have some incriminating text messages you sent to me, just talking about state of play, and the time and date, and how you said it was 3 days ago. And I'm going to get you canceled over this.
We've also talked offline about how you wouldn't do that, so I really don't wish.
Well, do you have the receipts, Jeff? Do you have the proof?
I believe I do, but we'll talk about that again.
See you in court. The court called Twitter.
You fucking nerds. All right.
All right. Let's take one last micro break.
Okay.
And everyone's going to have a granola bar or something, go potty if they need to. And on the other side, we will knock out some of these emails.
Sounds good.
Let's go take a break. And we are back from our tiny, teeny, tiny little break. So nice to be here.
So nice to be here. So nice to get to the email section of the show. It's weird. Whenever I fill in for, or one of us fills in for Vinny, I feel like I'm more trying to do an impression of Vinny and less Jeff hosting. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to everybody?
I think you should be yourself, Jeff, because your impression is quite frankly bad.
Wow. And with that, the impossible pivot into the emails section. Wow. And people just being just straight up mean to me in the chat. No, I'm kidding.
No, they haven't caught up yet. Now they're being mean.
It's Beastcast at giantbomb.com, Beastcast at giantbomb.com.
Yes.
Beastcast at giantbomb.com. And you can just, send an email. And you got, I don't know, like a 7% chance, 5% chance of getting it on the show.
But if you send it to Bleastcast at giantblom.com, you have a 100% chance of it not being read.
All right.
Shall we read?
Get to the emails. Abby, would you please?
Okay, I will read this first one from Terrell. What are some of your personal gaming unpopular opinions? For me, I think that the D-pad buttons on the original Switch Joy-Cons are perfectly fine. I'm also one of the few people who liked and used Snap Mode for Xbox One. This is Terrell from Pennsylvania.
Wow, those are extraordinarily unpopular.
I don't know what Snap Mode for Xbox One was. I don't think I had one when that was a thing.
That was this thing where you could bind other applications to the current screen you were watching. So I don't know, you could have fucking Skype open up while you're playing, Sunset Overdrive or some shit.
Distracting.
Which,
That was when they were trying to be hook your what's it called? Your cable box up to your Xbox. You can do everything.
Right. The thing everybody wanted. What is your unpopular gaming opinion, Abby? Besides all of them?
No. I mean, the audience will let you know what they are. That's for sure. But I think, I don't know. I think I don't have a lot of nostalgia for older games. I kind of feel this way with a lot of stuff. I feel the same way about older movies. I think, yes, there are some that are excellent and I still enjoy watching. And similar with older games. But I think in a lot of instances, I'm I can appreciate this for what it was and also appreciate that we built off of it and made something even better from it. That's my unpopular opinion is I don't give a shit about, fucking Link to the Past. You know what I mean? I love Link Between Worlds. That's a good game. And Link to the Past is good too for what it was, but I don't want to play it.
Okay. I don't know if that's actually as unpopular opinion as you think it is. I think there are actually a lot of younger players like yourself who have very similar, not necessarily dislike, but are just not nearly as interested as in older media as say my generation was growing up. Sure. And again, part of that is that I feel like Jeff, you might had the same experience. A lot of the media I consumed as a kid was written by people who were very interested in delivering the stuff they grew up with back to us, either through the writing of jokes or even literally just like through just straight up doing like Looney Tunes type shit. Like it was a lot of reselling their childhoods back to us and assuming that we would all like it. And in a lot of ways we did. But I feel like believe me, I don't believe in generalizing generations or any of that shit. But I do feel like, you know, younger people these days are not as interested in just having old media regurgitated back to them and are potentially seemingly more interested in just doing their own thing and having new stuff and their own stuff. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
No.
It's also like, I mean, I've even played, I grew up with like an NES and like we played a lot of those old games growing up. But I think even for me, it was like, yeah, I enjoyed them at the time, or maybe I didn't or whatever. But I don't know. I don't need to play the original Mario. I know what it is.
You don't have the attachment to it. You just don't have it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there's definitely like I also think there's like a blurring of a generational line as much as the labeling of all that stuff becomes very popular to talk about. I do think like, you know, there is so much that has been blurred together, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like a straight up unpopular gaming opinion, I don't know. I think there are certain, I guess the most scandalous, you know, things that I could think of are just like not loving, you know, franchises that people are very precious about.
Like what?
Right.
Name
whether
them
it be
so
like,
people can yell at you.
The thing that comes to mind first and foremost, more than, you know, just relevantly because of just having that Xbox event is just Halo. Like I just don't get it.
I'm with you, dude.
But I don't get it.
You're not alone.
It's also
I know that's not really an unpopular opinion, but
it was also puzzling to me. I had a bunch of people yell at me over not paying attention closely enough to Halo in like a podcast. I don't know. Wow, your dog is stretching. It's so cute. Oh my god. But I also didn't know that Halo had like a lot of lore to it. I always thought of Halo as like it's a shooting game and like similar to Call of Duty. But like, yeah, there's some story if you look for it. But people let me know there's a lot of rich lore.
Oh, there's a ton of lore, and here's the thing, and maybe this is the thing that has actually kept me from ever really loving Halo, is that I think a lot of it is really bad and boring. Like, I'm not interested in it. Like, I don't care about the origins of Cortana or, you know, John 117, aka Master Chief. Like, it's none of that. But what I've read of it has just not been interesting, and in the stuff I've experienced in the games, which granted, I've not really played any of those games with like for longer than a stretch since Halo 3. But like just none of that ever really mattered to me as much as shoot the neon colored aliens. Like that was the thing that I paid attention to. And that stuff is fine. It's fun, but it just never really resonated with me.
Yes. For me, yeah, I it's a whole lot of that. I even boil it down just to the point of like, this is the color green. And that is all you need to know. Like,
what? Oh, that's the green game.
About?
Okay.
The green. That's my answer. Is green, and you have everything you need. Look, I don't know. There's plenty of Xbox exclusive franchises that I am very much a fan of, but there's that.
This one is not really an unpopular opinion. I mean, in the sense that it's unpopular because I doubt very many people hold it, not because it's controversial. And it is this. The greatest thing we lost over the course of console generations over the last 2 or 3, I think, was the introduction of custom soundtracks on the original Xbox and then never doing that again on other platforms in a meaningful way. I loved the thing where you could feed an Xbox a CD of fucking, you know, burned songs on a CDR. It would take that shit, it would put it on its hard drive, and then you could load up Burnout, and you had your own soundtrack for Burnout, and that shit was awesome. And I understand no one has music files anymore. All anyone has is Spotify or Apple Music. It probably doesn't make any sense for anyone to even try and introduce stuff like that at this point. But god damn it, I love that feature. It was just a thing I love.
I've seen games where it was like, sync your Spotify with this, and like you can listen to your own music, like in the car or whatever.
So you can, but like the way it works is like on PS4 at least, which is the only one I have Spotify downloaded on. Like it will play the music over the game, and it will recognize like, hey, maybe we'll duck the soundtrack here, and then, you know, like there's still game audio, but it's not the level of like granular control I want, which is just like building playlists for specific games, building it in there. Like it doesn't. it just doesn't have the same feel to it to me, and that is very much an old guy thing. I realize, and it's like I got really used to using one specific type of iPod, and I was just old enough to where I never wanted to learn how to use another one again. You know what I mean? Like that old guy thing of, I found the tech I understand. I never want to upgrade this. That was mine.
Wow. Okay.
That's fair.
Well, moving right along. Alex, will you read this one from Nick, please?
Sure thing. Nick says, "Hey, Beasts. Podcasting in the state of New York has been banned. Oh no! CBS has agreed to move the crew to a new city to continue working, but the following terms must be met. Everyone must agree on the city." That's a bad start. The city you move to must have the state's name in it, i.e. Oklahoma City, Utah City. Here's a list of all the possible choices. There's a Wikipedia link here. Where are we going, guys?
We're going...
Okay, I'm looking at this list.
Okay.
There's a Wikipedia list called List of U.S. Cities Named After Their State, but they also have ones like Minneapolis. Like, most of these are like Maryland City, Nebraska City, Oregon City. But like Minneapolis, do we want to count those?
That doesn't count.
Okay, we're gonna not gonna count those.
I think Indianapolis can totally work. I think Minneapolis is too far of a stretch.
Okay,
right, because there is also
thing,
a Minnesota City.
Yes, that's kind of where I'm at. I think Okay, you go, Jeff.
Why is this such a weird stipulation? I don't understand that. But B, we're going to Maine.
No way! I don't want to live in freaking Maine with freaking Stephen King. I don't think so.
Guys, that's a part of Maine. That's the part of Maine where they just may not have the internet. We need to do a podcast. That's the northern ass part of Maine.
Okay.
Oh shit! I just clicked on that. We are not moving to Maine.
Okay.
No.
I'm gonna give two options. I'm gonna give my fun answer, then I'm gonna give my real answer. My fun answer.
You decide which one is which.
Is Tennessee City, because I'm guessing it's at least somewhat near. I don't know. I feel like Tennessee. I don't know why I'm forgetting the Memphis. Yeah, we could be sort of close to Memphis probably. I don't know exactly where Memphis is in Tennessee, but Memphis is cool. That's something to do. But I think my real answer is Jersey City, because that's basically
It would be the
New York.
easiest.
That would be the easiest. The other easy one would be New York. There's like a New York. There's another New York one.
Mills, New York.
Yeah, New York Mills.
No way.
All right.
It's far though. It's far.
I don't want to be in upstate. I don't know, y'all. Let's go to Tennessee. Tennessee City, everybody. Come on.
That's it. We're doing it. We're going to Tennessee.
I've convinced him.
Oh, man.
Tennessee. Where do you want to go, Jeff? Mississippi
I want to
City?
go to Jersey City, especially. I mean, Jersey City would have been my answer.
Well, yeah.
Technically, it's not New Jersey City, so that does. I don't know if that fully counts.
Doesn't count.
Damn it, these rules.
Just saying, the whole name of the state's got to be in there somewhere.
Tennessee.
It's such a weird
City.
rule.
Tennessee City. Tennessee City.
Where in Tennessee is that?
It's in like
it's
north
Tennessee. It's hard to tell.
It's like north central Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for
that. Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for the only place of all these places I've been to that I've actually been to that isn't Jersey City, and I'm gonna vote for Virginia Beach, Virginia, because it's actually a pretty nice town.
Yeah, it's like a beach town though. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's great. Who doesn't love the beach? I love the beach.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll do it. Okay, I'll go to Virginia Beach. I just feel like living in a beach town is like tourists and like shitty tourists, you know?
You're not wrong. I feel like Virginia Beach is not the worst one of those I've been to, but I do like Virginia Beach. I think it's a nice town.
You see, this whole time I thought it was the beach I hate, but perhaps it is beach people that I hate.
Oh yeah.
Or an even distribution of both. I mean, I think that's what it is, and the sun. But yeah,
I also hate the sun.
Well, good news,
but I do like
everyone.
the beach.
Tennessee City.
Really? Are you like a genuine beach person?
I love the beach.
Oh,
you're not asking
yeah.
me,
I genuinely, I love it. Anytime I can go hang out at the beach, I am down. I have to put on 50 SPF and have an umbrella over me, but it doesn't matter because I still enjoy being at the beach. I like being in the water. I really enjoy swimming.
Yeah,
when I was a kid,
too.
I was all about
swimming.
going. Yeah, I was all about going to the Jersey Shore and going in the water. Now I just kind of don't even fuck around, and I basically wear like a full, I wear long sleeve like
Oh, you're the dad beach.
I
You're the
remember
dad
being
at the
your
beach.
sim. You got your long sleeves. You got your big hat.
The only thing, my big hat's awesome and I love it, and I kind of just wear it now, even when I walk Marty. But, I've had too many encounters with, skin issues where I'm just like not fucking around anymore.
Hmm.
That's
Let's just
smart.
call it a wash.
I have
And
I
I'm
have found a
SPF
level.
clothing.
I have found a level of SPF that works for me. It is very high, but it works, and I can be at the beach for a few hours and not be dead by the end of it. So that is really all I'm looking for.
I just have a kind of tough-ish time picturing like you with your toes in the sand, like just sort of like doing the beach thing. Yeah.
Well, it's difficult because I never show feet on cam, so you can't really picture it. I get it, but I do in fact.
Feet.
Yeah, I do not. I really enjoy it. I love. Here's the thing. I love the outdoors, but I hate going outdoors. Like it is a constant war inside my brain of I enjoy outdoor environments. I do not like being out in them for more than a couple of hours, and I want to be immediately home afterwards. Like it is this constant push pull of I've been here too long. I have to go, but boy, it's really nice out here, and I've never reconciled that.
I also feel like for me, I can fully imagine you. Because, like, beach has, like, Alex energy where you, like, sitting in a chair, you're looking out on the water, maybe you got some shade, maybe you pop in every so often, versus, like, hiking or, like, biking or something where it's, like, this is, like, that's not really your energy. I feel like sitting on the beach with a book, very much your energy.
You have 100% ascertained my energy, and
yes.
that is
I've been studying
definitely
you for years.
Well, I look forward to reading your thesis on me.
It's very long and quite invasive. Alrighty. I guess we're all going to Virginia Beach.
Woo!
Sorry, Jeff.
Sure.
Alrighty, Jeff, read this one for Mike, please.
Of course. I find I have some insecurities about expressing my nerdy interests in ways such as car decals or more recently face masks with video game, D&D, or other non-mainstream icons. I am a middle manager in a food service contract field, so I wear a mask every day. My uniform is a shirt and tie, but it is not an office environment, so I feel the need to look professional, but not capital P professional. This is a pretty good job of explaining. Mm-hmm. For example, if Vinny wore a Transformers mask and Jeff had a Devil's mask, people wouldn't ask questions. But if Alex had a Vic Firth mask...
Wow, that's a specific one. Okay.
He would probably have to spend a lot of time explaining why. Huh.
Yeah, so Vic Firth is a drumstick maker. It's a popular brand of drumsticks. So yes, I would probably have to explain that to a few people.
So the question is like, should this fella wear a mask with D&D or other nerd memorabilia on it?
Here's the thing: nothing matters anymore.
Is that what you wear?
That's true too.
Oh yes, true, Alex. I'm looking at.
You wear that?
Alex.
Yeah, I've worn this. I've worn this
like
mask
a proper
a few times.
mask.
Yeah, I bought this. It's a face mask. I've worn it a few times. I have other ones that I use more regularly.
Alex
but
is
like
holding like a luchador mask, but it's like a half face mask luchador mask.
Yeah.
Damn, that thing's cool as fuck.
Yeah, it was I bought it because it was cool, not because I needed another mask, but like I wanted it, and I've worn it a couple of times. I'm kind of saving it for special occasions. But my point is that like it just doesn't matter right now. Like none of this shit matters. Like do what makes you happy. Sure. Like I feel like it's the more important thing. Like if you want to have a nerdy ass thing on your face mask, like if there's no one at work telling you you can't, what's stopping you, really?
Yeah.
Of course, like you also talked a little bit about like the idea of like putting a car decal, on or something like that, and you do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. Exactly. Like I'll say this though. A friend of mine made me a Spaceballs face mask, and it says Spaceballs the face mask on it.
Okay.
And I've gotten a good amount of just people recognizing it, and it's getting to the point where it's kind of annoying. So now I don't.
It's like you don't always want to have a conversation about your shit. Like,
what's that?
You don't always want to have a conversation about like all your shit. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Exactly. So I'm starting to like not wear it where I'm just like, hey, yeah, I know. That's the thing. I really backed into this one, didn't I? I shouldn't have done this, right? But yeah, like do what makes you happy and be yourself.
And I will say also more broadly, not just speaking about, the COVID times in which we live, I definitely used to be a little bit more shy about presenting some of my more niche interests. My obsession with, let's say the Japanese pro wrestling scene of the late 90s was not a thing I went around telling people about constantly back in the day, because there was really only just a bunch of like weirdo message board tape traders that I could talk to people about that shit back in the day. Now, Japanese pro wrestling is incredibly popular, even in the United States. And so it's like there's a whole new subset of people I can discuss it with. But back then, yeah, I was like a little shyer about it because it was such a hyper specific and not really much of a conversation starter with most people. But, I think at a certain point, like, you can judge what people want to talk about and what they don't, but I don't think you should ever feel embarrassed just being like, like wearing a shirt or, some insignia of a thing that you like, even if no one knows what the hell it is.
I think for me, just as far as the face masks go, I like having like a plain black one, and then I like having some fun ones. I like having the options. I like being able to choose. But as far as wearing nerd stuff, I don't always love it, not because I'm like embarrassed or ashamed, but I think because like Jeff was talking about, like I don't always want to talk about it, especially with game stuff nowadays. Like I have a few game shirts and I really like them, but generally the people who ask me about them are people who recognize them and are like very excited about games, which is great. But I think I can also get like a little dodgy because then it eventually have to be like me talking about my job, and I feel weird sometimes being like, yeah, I have this shirt because like I know someone who made the game and gave it to me. Do you know what I mean? And, like, I feel like sometimes it's just like, I don't want to have this conversation right now. I don't want to talk about work, basically.
Right. This is why I only wear band T-shirts because, it's still nerd shit. It's just different nerd shit, and it's nerd shit that I'm less likely to have to strike up a conversation with someone at PAX. You know what I mean? It's just like, sure. No, this is my uniform. These are the bands I like. I can very easily say, yeah, I love that band. Anyway, see ya.
Yeah, they're cool. I'm into them. You too?
I love them.
All right.
Okay, well, moving right along, I will read this one about Schweppes. We got a Schweppes email from Mitch. Thank you, Mitch. Given the Schweppes chatter last week, I thought you would be interested to know about the family's haunted mansion. News to me. When the founder of Schweppes got engaged, the bride's extremely wealthy parents gifted them a $25,000 square foot mansion just north of Chicago. Both bride and groom, the Schweppeses, eventually met their untimely ends in the house, and locals, including my partner's family, swear it's now haunted. For example, many claim that while most windows in the home are now dirty and neglected, the spirit of Laura Schweppes' housekeeper always keeps one window perfectly clean in the room in which she died. The housekeeper also died there, or Laura Schweppes?
I don't know.
Question.
She's just tidy.
Yeah. Despite numerous attempts to sell the property, it has remained unoccupied since 1941 when Charles Schweppes died. It's currently available for $8.5 million. And then they link to the listing, and they link to like a few other articles. And then they ask, would you be interested in a heavily discounted mansion or pinball machine if it was rumored to be haunted?
So wait, was like Laura Schweppes' housekeeper like entombed with her? Like, is that why the ghost?
I don't know if they mean that like the housekeeper came back and was like, after death, I want to keep doing my job, or if it was like a thing. Unclear.
I just, it's just like the rich, even in death, like they have to keep the help around to do the work for them. It's just very typical.
I am looking at this property and it's beautiful.
It's unbelievable, and it's obviously been, kept up since 1941. I mean,
it's not just a rotting building.
Yes.
Yeah, it's in like immaculate condition according to these photographs. But
wow, this house is beautiful.
First of all, like it's amazing, and I've never. It's 24,500 square feet. That is.
It's a lot.
Out of control.
It's wild.
And it's right on a body of water, too. You seen this?
Yeah, it's like it's in the Chicago suburbs, basically.
Wow, it looks like a house that would be haunted. Damn, this place is cool as fuck. I want to live here.
So, if it's haunted, do you want it?
Yes.
Yes, I want. Yeah, I don't care about that.
It depends on the hauntings. I don't believe that ghosts are real. I think it's usually explained by like carbon monoxide poisoning or like, other coincidences that actually aren't a ghost. And I think like folklore really gets you. I'm sure I would still be like spooked as hell in one of these houses.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
But it's fun.
Keep the lights on.
Also, this house
Because
is
ghosts hate the
gorgeous.
lights.
Like, I love yes, it's true. I bet this house probably hasn't been sold, not because it's haunted, but because it's an $8 million house outside of Chicago.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But since 1941 is a long time.
Yeah, I want to read up on some of the supplemental material here. It's pretty wild. And yes, you do joke about owning a haunted pinball machine. And as someone who does in fact own a haunted pinball machine,
how's that working out for you?
You learn to coexist.
Yeah.
I haven't seen my pet birds in months, but you move on. You know, you learn very quickly that's the kind of pet that is easily replaceable. So, you know, it's what it is. But like, yeah, of course I'm going to take it. I really want to know the true reasons. It's not so okay, here's a real story. There is a town in New Jersey, I think it's Westfield. And there is something truly fucked up about this house. And I believe they call it like the Watcher House.
Oh, that's not a good sound. Oh, wait, I think I know what this is.
I don't know what this is at all. Wait, where is this? Jersey?
Yeah, in a town called Westfield.
I think I read about this.
Yeah, it's basically born out of like this, you know, I don't know if you know what Weird New Jersey is, but it feels like it's cut out of like a sort of urban legend. Anyway, the house apparently was receiving like very creepy letters for a very long time by this like watcher person who would say like, I know who you are, I'm watching, and they couldn't sell the house because of this tormented, you know, existence that the owners you know, endured. And I think they eventually did sell it, but the last time a story was written about it, just a quick search, the last time the Times wrote about it was last year. So it's like kind of still a thing. Actually, a year ago, almost to the day. But like this was really happening. Like this house was receiving these letters.
Oh my God, I'm reading these letters. They're like so fucked.
They're fucked.
I'm gonna read one.
And again, I don't mean to conflate like ha funny.
Yeah, because that's not supernaturalism. That's just someone that is sending mildly menacing letters.
Yes.
Right. And again, like I don't wish to conflate those things. For the people who lived here, that's truly awful. But like that's the only real, you know, sort of example that popped into my head of a thing like that.
Would you buy it?
But what's that?
Would you buy this one?
I
wonder, can you like stop? You can like block a phone call, but can you like block a letter? You know what I mean? Is that possible? Like, how do you stop?
I mean, you can now, but that's just because the mail's broken.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know like how this ever shook out. Like, I don't know if the letters ever stopped. You know, I don't know. It's just weird, right?
It's unsettling.
It's just, like, super unsettling and weird.
Here's the thing. I would absolutely not buy the Watcher house, and maybe this is a contradictory thing. I'm like Abby. I don't think ghosts are real. I don't think that, you know, I'm interested in supernatural stuff. I love it, but I also
for the fun of it. Yeah.
I completely understand that there are absolutely scientific explanations for weird shit that even I've experienced in my life that I can't explain. I'm sure there is an explanation for it.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I don't fuck with it. I don't fuck with supernatural stuff. I don't fuck with cursed things. I don't fuck with spiritualism. I don't fuck with any of it. The reason being that even if I don't believe in it, why leave it to chance? Why do it? Why fuck with it? Why fuck with a thing you don't understand, a thing you don't know what to do with?
Schweppes house. I'm sure it's got like fountains of bubbly soda everywhere. Oh my God, I would live in that Schweppes house in a second, and not just because I love the delicious crisp flavor of Schweppes.
Here's the thing. There's lots of lovely homes out there that were not owned by dead seltzer magnates who now reach back from the grave to apparently do what exactly? I don't know, other than exist in this house and clean a room. But nonetheless, I don't feel a need to fuck with it. I don't feel the need to mess with a thing that I don't understand, and I'm perfectly happy to leave it over there and go to a house that is, by all accounts, not haunted.
Okay, I have a similar kind of adjacent question for all of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, Alex, you would not buy a haunted house. Good to know. Jeff, you said you would be willing to buy a haunted house, yes?
I would happily buy a haunted house.
I have a question. You see a house on the market. No hints of it's haunted, none of that shit. But it has a history or like some kind of brutal, violent crime happened there, would you buy the house then?
In a hot second.
Yeah, I mean,
Alex is like, that's a selling point for me.
I
Marty
got a haunted dog right here. Oh, wow, he can open doors.
He's podcasting. He opened the door just to bark louder at you.
Yeah, he's just like, hey, check it out. So, like, I think I just imagining like walking into with the realtor, like walking into the front door, and the realtor just being like, "Well, this is a great 4-bedroom. 5 homicides have happened here," and you're just like, that wasn't in the listing." But like that stuff is gonna like if you're just looking at like, oh, that's just gonna naturally decrease the value of the home just because like that information is out there. It's
gonna be harder to sell. Is that what you're saying?
It would be harder to sell, I would imagine. But
you're probably
I don't
right.
know. But maybe, you know, every house has its own sort of circumstance. But like, yeah, I think it would bother me when you first hear it. But like, if it's really the house you want, you figure out a way to make it work.
I mean, again, it's not necessarily the first house I would go for, but I take the Ned Flanders approach, which is, oh, we're a part of local lore now. We're part of history. That's where the torso pile was. Awesome. That's exciting. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to go looking for murder houses, but if it's a murder house and it's unhaunted, I'll at least give it a shot.
Yeah, if it happens to be a murder house, right? Like, you don't go looking for the murder house. If it just so happens that it is in fact a murder house, well, then there you go.
Growing up, we lived in a house. We like rented a house that was directly next to a church, and it was like the house the old priest used to live in. It was like truly like everyone thought my dad was the priest when we lived there. But there was one room upstairs where it had like bolts in the wall, like from what used to be hanging there, like clearly in the shape of a cross. Like whoever needed a cross, like bolted it to the wall there, and we used to call it the exorcism room.
Yeah, that's some.
And I was always a little bit afraid of it, but I still did stuff in there. Whatever, it was fine. That's my story.
Okay. All the chalk outlines on the floor didn't bother you? It was just
no, the ghosts were friendly. You know, I was possessed a few times, but it was good company, so I didn't mind.
Yeah, you came out the other side, all right?
Who knows? Maybe I'm the demon.
You made a friend.
The real
in the
Abby's
process.
gone. Exactly.
Well, that's going to do it for the email portion of our show. I know we're supposed to pivot to corrections, but guess what, friends? Flawless podcast once again. This is what, 8 in a row now we've got?
I think so.
Something like that.
I'm making it up. I don't know. But yeah.
I like that we were just like, yeah, full confidence. Like, yeah, I think you're right.
I love you guys. Just like you're like all in on that potential.
I can't wait until we get a correction on the number of episodes it actually was to the last correction.
Yes, we'll look forward to those. I think that's gonna do it. Are we done, you guys? That's it, right?
Get the end music coming up. I've queued it up.
Okay, well, thanks to everyone for tuning in, watching live or after the fact. It means so much. Happy birthday to everyone. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Abby.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Vinny, for just being here in spirit. I hope everything's going well, and I hope everything's going well with you and yours. I can't hear the music, so I don't know when to stop, so I'm just going to do it right now and say, see you next time, everybody.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, I kind of nailed it.
Good job.